So, I showed you how to lay the grout down on your floor. We've done a section. I've actually, since we spoke last, I continued and did another section here, which is not ready to wash yet, but I wanted to show you the difference in how it looks. This is the grout that's ready to wash. You notice how it's whitened up a little bit? You don't want to leave it get too hard. You want to clean it maybe after the, it might be sitting, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes after you spread it. Then you can go back and start washing it. You'll notice this has just been spread. It's still dark. It's not ready to wash yet. So now, all you need is your bucket of clean water, cool, and your sponge. And what you want to do is, it's going to take you a couple of passes. You're going to start and work in the same direction as you spread it. And the first pass, you're going to notice that I'm really not trying to clean anything. You notice that? I'm just sort of like a kid playing in a sandbox. I'm just moving the grout around. And what I'm actually doing is, if you notice, is I'm tooling the joints. So I'm paying attention to make sure the joints are full, and I'm also making sure that the joints look finished. What I mean by that is they look nice and smooth and even. There's no high spots or low spots in the joints. You also want to do this in a circular motion for your first pass. Okay, you don't want to do too many straight lines because that will tend to pull grout away from some of the joint area. There we go. Okay, there's one section. I'll do the next. Now you notice I'm doing this for the whole section. I'm not trying to clean the floor. You need the grout, the sponge, slightly wetter on this pass, because sometimes you need to squeeze a little water out of it to make it work. You don't want too much water, because you don't want to wet out the grout too much. So here we go. See here, I'm noticing that the joint is not quite right. And actually what that is, and this is something to be aware of, I'm going to grab my trowel while he's focusing on that. That's thin set that has just, squeezed through when the towel was laid down. So when you see that, you can tell that's a different color than the grout. You want to make sure you try and get it all clean before you grout, but if this happens, and it does, just take your trowel, scrape some of that thin set out. Grab your sponge, clean that up. And then what you're going to do is grab some grout. And let me just grab a little bit. And your float. Okay, and just put a little bit of grout there. And watch what happens. Bingo. No more thin set showing through. So just be careful of that as you're going ahead. And this way you'll end up with a nice clean grout job. My trowel. Now I'll move ahead and finish washing that piece. Just as I mentioned earlier. Nice circular motion. Don't worry about cleaning on your first pass. It's not important. What you want to do is tool and form the joints. That's the most important thing right now. Make them look real pretty. There we go. So basically, right now I'm at the point where I've washed all the grout that I can. The rest of the grout is too wet. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to wash my sponge again. It's not necessary right away to have another clean pail of water. Just rinse out the sponge well, strain it out. Now when you're doing this, you want to try and keep the sponge sort of on an angle to the joints. So let me give you an example. The towels are already on a 45, so if I go like this, I'm on an angle to most of the joints. Now you're going to clean. When you clean, be patient. and just don't do too much at a time. This type of grout sponge works really good for this because if you use just a regular sponge, it will tend to tear a lot of the grout out of the joints and leave you with a lot of little spots. If you notice, I'm not trying to do a lot at a time. I'm turning the sponge and I'm just working forward. And if you notice, I have nice full grout joints. Work nice and clean. Keep working ahead. Again, I'm trying to do this to show you how really simple this is. There we go. I'll give you a couple more examples here. That should be fine after. Now look, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Really simple. That's it. I'm Centis, and I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. Thank you.